Here's this little old rolly chair. It cost me $20, and it's pretty hideous, and it's about time for me to cover it. I've decided to go ahead and use an old tablecloth. I've put my tablecloth on top of my chair, and I'm getting ready to pin it, and I will cut it right after this. If you have a plastic chair or a leather chair, it's possible for you to do this without, but you'll just be careful where your pinholes are. You can feel where your seams are in there. Although you're covering it, I guess it won't matter if you do have pinholes in it, if you don't plan on using it. And mine's so scrappy anyway. And I'm going to go ahead and proceed to cut it. Like we've done so many times before, I'm going to be fearless in cutting. I'm giving, it's just about an inch seam width that I'm cutting. I'm going to come in a little bit here, around where the seat is, and kind of come up. It's kind of like a figure 8. Kind of see. This is about 2 fingers. So we have a good seam. I've wanted to do a tablecloth slipcover for quite some time, but I hate cutting up my tablecloths. And then when I did pick a couple tablecloths that were in bad shape, well, it would be too embarrassing to have. There are so many stains on it. Let's see how it's going back here. That's what it looks like. So, next part of the process is to pin the back on. The back will be part of the skirt. It'll all be one piece, whereas the tulip skirt will be attached to the front seat portion. But we want this to be as long as the skirt. So we're going to go ahead and pin this and cut this and attach it to the front piece. And depending on your design, or you might have just a solid, you could just be creative or even use a couple different tablecloths. And give myself a little bit of distance on the edge and just cut it straight. Cut all the way around, and then we'll pin those together and begin sewing. Having cut the back piece, I'm going to go ahead and pin those together. This is about 6 inches from the seat of the chair, so you can see where I'm at. And that's how long the skirt will be, the front part of the skirt. And that'll be a tulip skirt, and I'll show you how I do that too. So what we're going to do is attach, these pieces to each other, pin all the way around. So you have to come straight down. You can curve it in a little bit, but you have to be able to squeeze even this smaller section. If you have it a little bit tighter, you have to be able to get it over the top of the chair. Not unless you want to put some kind of buttons or something. Personally, I just want to kind of make this a simple little thing and not make it complicated. And then you can kind of elaborate on it the way you choose. So you can see that I'm getting these pinned together. And these pins are going to land right at the back where the back seat and the back attach. So we don't want to go down too far because it will end up splitting once you sit on it. That's where my seam will end. And we will do the same on the other side. So I've got my pin marked where we're going. Pulling my pins out as we go. And I will go all the way around where I marked. You might have to kind of stretch and pull because the back side is actually a little bit smaller than the front usually. There's a curve on the front, so you'll have to kind of ease it in going around the corner. And thank goodness I didn't get any stains in there. We'll go all the way around to the end. Having sewn it together, I went ahead and serged it. I serged the front piece, that's the seat in the back, and of course the back piece with a little bit of skirt. We'll turn it right side out. I did bring it in a little in a little bit, so when you put it on, come in sideways and it'll slip around a little bit better instead of going down straight, because you'll really put a lot of kind of fatigue on the fabric, especially if you're using an old tablecloth. Then sometimes that fabric's a little bit fragile. Oh, it's looking like something. Let's see what it looks like. So what I'm going to do now is to make this tulip skirt, I'm going to measure from right here, the edge of the chair, all the way around. It looks like it's about 42 inches. And so that's going to be the top portion of my skirt. I'm going to show you this. You're going to be really shocked how this goes. You're going to love this. Well, the skirt ended up being a little bit longer than I thought. I'm going to go ahead and call it 9 inches. But from the seam, the corner where the seat and the back meet is about 10 inches. So really that's how big I have to make the skirt. And I will show you that next. I'll be honest with you, I do not know geometry. And you probably know a real easy way for you to do this for yourself. But I do things that are easy in my head. And so if you know a better science to do this, then I say go for it. The distance was 43 inches for my chair. You can measure the distance of your chair. I folded in quarters. I fold it in half and then in half again. So I have like a quarter of the skirt. And so divided the 43 inches by 4, which was 10 3/4. I marked this on my little tape measure. I've kind of like circled around here and kind of got a good idea of where it will end up. I turned it and it looks about 6.5 inches. Although I need a 1/2 inch seam allowance to sew this on to the body of the slip cover. So I'm giving that, and so here is my it was 6.5 inches. This is 6 inches. Yours, I don't know the measurement of yours. You will, maybe you do have a better way to do this, but this is how I do it. It makes it simple and I don't have to think hard, and it just makes it real easy for me. So I measure 6 inches from the corner all the way fanned out, and I'm going to cut that. That is going to be the inside of my tulip skirt. Now I'm going to do the same thing. The skirt was going to be 10 inches long. That was what we measured on my skirt for me. And here we go. I'm going to go ahead and make these 10-inch marks all the way around, starting on the inside that I had already cut and measuring out. And this doesn't make any sense at all right now, but you will see that it will. And I will cut right here. I'm going to go ahead and cut one side. This will be where it attaches to the back and where the skirt goes. And this is how you make this tulip skirt. So here I am, I'm attaching the skirt. I went ahead and put the slip cover on inside out. I'm on one end and I'm going to go ahead and pin that little extra we had in the back for the skirt. I'm pinning that, and this fabric, because it's cut on a bias and in a circle, it's best to either serge it or zigzag it or stay stitch it if you don't have zigzag. Go ahead and stay stitch it. That way it won't have so much movement and it'll be so much easier for you to maneuver. It won't stretch out and become distorted. So here I am, I'm just going to go ahead and pin all the way around a 1/2 inch seam. So let's see, this hangs down a little bit further than I like because I always make a bigger seam than I need. I'm always worried about something happening. And this is following just along the edge of the chair, as you can see. And I'm going to pin this all the way around. But don't pull the skirt. It will make it too loose and it'll stretch too much. And you can see as I'm pinning how that circle creates this little tulip style skirt. It's a real feminine little look. You don't have to use tablecloths, of course. You could use any kind of fabric. And of course, this is for a chair that doesn't have arms. You can use this for even a dining room chair, something that is squared off even at the top. You could use it the same exact way, or even square in the seat. You could still put a tulip skirt on it. You just go around the corner with it. And I'm going to pin all the way around. As I've come around the corner and come to the end, I've made adjustments in the top seat part. You know, you make it as tight or loose. You might like it kind of the shabby chic look and make it a little bit looser. But anyway, I've made the adjustments. I did need to bring this seam attaching the back seat portion to the back, and I did end up needing it a little bit, another extra 3/4 of an inch. And then of course I sewed or pinned so I can sew this last piece, so you can get a good idea of what it looks like. So I'm attaching the skirt piece, and here's this little piece that I felt like was a little short for me. I'm going around the outer edge of the circle to put my hem in, and don't pull it too hard because you'll end up with some little puckers in there. And I'm doing a 1/2 inch hem all the way around. Okay, so we're sliding on kind of sideways because it's a little tight, and we'll see if it's something or nothing. That's what it looks like in the back. And you can see the little tulip skirt. If you happen to have arms, you know how we had this seam, there's 2 separate seams that I made, but this seam is just one seam. Wherever your little arms are, you can go ahead and kind of leave a space where those arms are. And then in the seam down here, what you could do is you could put Velcro all the way down to hold it all together on both sides so you can get those arms in. Instead of sewing this seam, you'll have Velcro on either side of these, and you could Velcro those together and it would Velcro below the arm, across here. So if there were arm more like here, Velcro, 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 Velcro.